So, 2025 was a great year of games. So many big hitters were released. I played a lot of games last year. I thought it would be interesting to do a roundup of what games I played throughout the year. I did play and replay a few other games but didn't finish them, so I didn't include them on this list. The first game I played in 2025 was Banishers Ghosts of New Eden. This is an action RPG game where you play as a couple of banishers who come to America to deal with a ghost. There is a whole range of characters you meet and you can investigate various hauntings and decide how you want to deal with the ghosts. I liked this game, the story and the hauntings were really great. I wasn't a huge fan of the combat and the run back and forth, but overall I had a lot of fun. I finally got around to playing Cyberpunk 2077 this year. In Cyberpunk you play as a mercenary with cybernetic implants trying to make a name for yourself and getting some sweet eddies. I had tried to play it on the PS4 when it first came out and sent it back as it was unplayable. I'm so glad I tried again after all the updates and DLC. This is a fantastic game and I loved immersing myself in Night City. The music, the characters, the missions were all great. I love playing V as a strong dumb idiot with a heart of gold but not afraid to kill the bad guys. Night City isn't a place where you get happy endings, but I left it with a little bit of hope at the end. But maybe that's because I'm an idiot. I also watched the Edge Runners series this year and that was great too. Crime Scene Cleaner is a simulation game where you play as a guy working for the mob who cleans crime scenes and removes any evidence. Sounds grisly, and it kind of is. It is also fun though. Much like Power Washing Simulator, this scratches a cleaning itch. To open up a door to a room which is completely covered in dirt and blood and to slowly clean it until it looks new is very satisfying. What isn't satisfying is when you accidentally knock your water bucket and the dirty bloody water goes everywhere you just cleaned. Fucking bucket. It is kinda cool that the bucket has physics and spills though, as infuriating as it is. Tales of Iron is a little 2D side-scrolling game where you play an adorable Mouse King. I really enjoyed the art style and Doug Cockle narrating. It's a fun little game which could really do with some iframes when dodging and rolling. Some of the boss fights were pretty hard without them. I love the Like a Dragon Yakuza games. They have everything. Karaoke, minigames, an Animal Crossing knockoff, a Pokemon Snap knockoff, and a surprising amount of heart. Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is a decent entry into the Yakuza series. It's by no means the best one, but I had a bloody brilliant time playing as Pirate Majima, hunting for treasure and sub-stories in and around Hawaii. If you like beat 'em ups with batshit crazy side quests and minigames, this could be right up your alley. It Takes Two is a really fun co-op game with a not so fun story. You play as a married couple with marital problems and a young kid. The puzzles, the co-op gameplay and the little mini-games are really well thought out and interesting, but the story fails to live up to the other aspects of the game. I still enjoyed it and I think it's a really good game. Split Fiction is another game from Hazelight Studios who made It Takes Two. I enjoyed this more than It Takes Two. You play as two writers looking for a publishing deal who wind up connected to a machine where they can experience the world they have created. Something goes wrong and they end up together, alternating between each of their worlds. It's a really fun concept and mixes fantasy and sci-fi action. Like in It Takes Two, it is a fun action adventure where you solve puzzles and fight bosses with a friend. If you can only play one of Hazelight Studios' games, I would say Split Fiction is the one to go with. Mario Kart World was a launch game for the Switch 2, and it changed the Mario Kart formula. You now have an open world to explore with lots of challenges and collectibles such as P-switches and Peach coins. I had a lot of fun with this one. Driving around the world was fun and the racetracks were interesting to play. I really enjoyed Boost Cinema, but there are lots of different areas. There's a knockout tour game mode where you race 6 courses and have to finish above a certain position, which I liked. There have been complaints about lack of traditional lap races, which I must say I did miss, but I enjoyed the game overall. Balatro is a super fun game and very addictive. It is a roguelike poker game where you try to get a minimum amount of points to move to the next level. There are jokers which give you bonuses and you can upgrade the different poker hands. It's strategic in that you could have a build where 2 of a kind hands gives you more points than a traditionally better poker hand, such as a royal flush. I would really recommend this game to most people. It is very pick up and play at any time, but it is also incredibly moorish and difficult to put down, with a just one more run thought creeping in every time you get a game over. Excavation of Hobbs Barrow is a point-and-click folk horror adventure with a pixel art style. The main character is an archaeologist who goes to a fictional town in Victorian England to investigate the moors and try to excavate a barrow, which is an ancient burial place with a mound of dirt on top. The story is suitably creepy, and the main character is voiced by Samantha Bayard, who also voiced Karlach in Baldur's Gate 3. I enjoyed the puzzles and didn't find myself getting too stuck during the game. If you like creepy pixel games, this might be one for you. Dragon Age Veilguard is an odd one. I love the Dragon Age series from BioWare, high fantasy with intriguing characters and tough choices to make. Veilguard is a decent enough game, but it felt a bit like Dragon Age Light. The characters mostly weren't as interesting as in previous games, though a shout out to Emmerich. I was a bit puzzled by how elves were handled and some other lore implications. Overall, I had fun and was glad I played it, but I replayed a bit of Origins after, and even though it is a lot older, it was just better. Claire Obscure. What can be said about it that hasn't already been said? It's a fantastic game. You take control of a party of characters who are trying to end the Gommage, where people over a certain age are killed. The characters and storyline are great, the battles are fun, except you, Simon. The music is phenomenal. If you can get behind the turn-based fights, this is a must-play game in my opinion. The storyline makes many turns and keeps you guessing. All of the awards nominations are very much deserved. Ghost of Yotei is the sequel to Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima. I had a lot of fun with this one. You play Atsu, who is on a path of revenge hunting down the Yotei 6. You get a lot of fun new weapons and tools to overcome your enemies. I had a great time in Yotei and enjoyed sneaking around until I made a mistake and then having to fight my way out. The new weapons and tools were fun to use, and I liked Atsu as a flawed character. This game is absolutely stunning, and I found myself just standing around and panning the camera more than once. Whilst I enjoyed the different characters in Yotei, I think Tsushima still just beats it for me. Lady Masako and her storyline were a highlight for me in the original. Alan Wake 2 is weird, and I mean that in the best possible way. One of my favourite sections is a musical number explaining the first game. You play as Saga, an FBI agent looking into some ritualistic murders, and Alan Wake, a writer trapped in an alternate reality. I liked the Mind Place, legally distinct from a Mind Palace, matching the clues to the cases and the inventory management aspect of the game. I haven't played the first game more than an hour or so. I spent a lot of my time in Alan Wake 2 trying to figure out what is real and where the story was going. For example, I was trying to figure out why the town had massive CRT televisions when it is supposed to be set in 2023. I got the deluxe edition, which came with both DLCs, the Lake House and Night Springs. I thought both were great, but I really liked the Night Springs DLC. The episodes were really fun, especially the third one, and I was intrigued by the links to the other Remedy games, as I've only finished Quantum Break almost a decade ago. I went down a bit of a Remedyverse wiki rabbit hole. I recently picked up Control, which I'm excited to play, and the sequel that was recently revealed looks good too. All in all, I had a lot of fun with Alan Wake 2 and would recommend giving it a go if survival horror is your thing, or if you just want to experience a bombastic metagame. One thing I will say, Saga really needs to put some damn gloves on when performing an autopsy. Talking about meta, next up is Slay the Princess, which is a horror adventure game. It's a visual novel where you are tasked by a narrator to slay a princess. Pretty simple, right? But why have you been tasked with slaying a princess? What has she done exactly? What gives us the right to just straight up murder someone without knowing why? Also, who the fuck am I? It'd be better to at least do a little bit of digging, right? Or should we trust what we're being told in the game? Do I ever question things when I normally play games, or do I just get on with the quest at hand? Slay the Princess is really fun and well written. The artwork is really nice, and although the game isn't super long, there is so much replayability and branching pathways. I'd recommend it to people who like indie games with an interesting story and premise, but the fact it's a visual novel and you only choose dialogue options isn't for everyone. I had a blast though. I don't want to talk much more on this, as I think if you want to play it, it's probably best to go in blind. Donkey Kong Bonanza is a 3D platformer where you play as Donkey Kong, and if you have a second player, Pauline. This was surprisingly fun, tearing through the terrain, hunting for bananas and fossils. I'm not usually one to play 3D platforms too much, but I had fun with this one. The various animal powers that you can get throughout the game are fun and varied. I will say the multiplayer left a lot to be desired. There wasn't really much player 2 can actually do. Power Wash Simulator, the game where I couldn't really see what the appeal was. Sure, power washing things clean is fun, but why would I want to do it in a video game? Well, it's still satisfying doing it on a screen, plus you have the added bonus of not being in the cold and wet. Power Wash Simulator 2 is just as fun as the original, and now with the additional bonus of not needing to pay for soap. There is also a new gadget which helps with cleaning high walls. I found cleaning the various levels super satisfying, seeing all the grime just wash away. This is a super relaxing game and just what I need to completely turn my brain off after work while still getting the serotonin by cleaning. Leaf It Alone is a leaf collecting game. You for some reason wake up from a coma, which weirdly was not the first time this has happened, and you find your property full of leaves. It's a nice little game that only takes a couple of hours. Perfect if you want to chill with something on in the background. Dispatch is a game about superheroes. You play as a dispatcher from the SDN, which is the Superhero Distribution Network. It's a choice-based game like the old Telltale games with an interesting dispatch minigame mechanic, where you have to choose the right heroes for calls coming in. I have to say I sucked at the dispatch game. I really liked the art style, the voice acting was great and the characters were interesting. Also, who doesn't love an underdog? So, those were the games that I played to the credits in 2025. All in all, I had a good 2025 in gaming. I played a lot of great games, some old, some new. I think my top 3 this year in no order would be Clair Obscur, Alan Wake 2 and Cyberpunk 2077. There are some games that I did play but haven't quite finished yet, so they didn't make the cut for this video, the main one being Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm going to try and remove 2 games from my backlog in January. I think I'm going to go with Silksong and Pacific Drive. That feels about right, as it will take me ages to finish Silksong, and I've gone into Pacific Drive blind and I think it might be a fairly short game. I'll find out. Thank you for watching.